Bottom of the hour, back on Get Up. Game 3 superlatives from the crew. Drea, I'll start with you. Who was the most impressive last night in Game 3?
Jaylen Brown. First half, he's struggling, can barely find the basket. Second half, finishes 24 points in the second half. He was efficient. He was aggressive. He was a dog on the defensive end. He is the best two-way player out there on the floor. He led the team, especially in the second half when they needed it the most. And that shot at the end to put them up 4 instead of up 2 was big time, Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, huge night all the way around. CJ, let us come to you. What was the biggest surprise to you last night?
I thought it was how the Celtics won. No Porzingis, no problems. Obviously, you look at Sam Hauser. He hits big shots in the first half. Tillman comes in, driving kick, big shots, was great defensively in the pick and roll. And then the poise of the Celtics to win down the stretch. Jaylen Brown, big shots. Jason Tatum, big shots. Drew Holiday driving, being the glue. Driving kick. We're going to highlight that play that he did to Derek White, but I was just really impressed with the poise of them overall.
Absolutely. The thing that we have questioned over these years. Finally, J. Will, what was the biggest disappointment last night?
I think the biggest disappointment was just the body language of Luka and defensive schemes that I saw from J. Kidd. Like, look, we talk about habits all the time. Luka is a phenomenal player in the game of the NBA. But these habits around him complaining constantly and him not having great body language is something that's rearing its ugly head right now.
And it certainly was ugly in every way last night. We'll have more on that as we go. We spent a lot of time talking about it, but let's take a look at some of the good Celtics offense from last night. You've got to play as only you can.
Or can we talk about the bad Dallas Mavericks defense?
Okay, set it up.
Just put the play up because I just want to show the world what I'm talking about.
Right.
First off, I'm using an acronym, okay? CJ, we've been talking about this. 3 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. I have WTF at home. You know what that stands for. I do not understand defensively why the scheme is to switch everything right now. Why? Let's let the play develop, okay? So here we go. You're going to see the play start off. You're going to see a little screen here by Al Horford. Screen coming here. And you're going to see these two players, 1, 2. Why are you switching? Why wouldn't you just talk about the likes of P.J. Washington fight over this screen because you know there's going to be a rescreen to this moment here, okay? Doesn't do it. Switch. Now you have Derek Lively guarding Jason Tatum. You're going to see another screen, CJ. Same thing here. That should just, you obviously know what's going to happen now. These two are going to switch. As the play happens, now you have Derek Lively in a situation where you have a young player, right, a rookie on the perimeter as a big guarding the likes of a guard. As the ball gets rotated to the side, I don't know why he always does that. The ball gets rotated to the side. Now you're going to see Drew Holiday drive towards the baseline. As he drives towards the baseline, Kyrie's going to come here, and now you're going to have my man right here, Derek Lively, in no man's land. Because in no man's land, now as a big, you have to guard 2 perimeter players. You have to make a decision. You have to hedge. Which one are you going to hedge? As he comes to the baseline, are you drifting towards the baseline, or are you staying in between the two? CJ, bigs don't have the experience of making those type of decisions on the perimeter. Am I correct?
No, you're correct, and I think you got to credit Drew Holiday here because he makes a hell of a play. He drives baseline drive, baseline drift, right? Kyrie trapped the box. He's supposed to do that. He does his job. Derek Lively splits 2 on the backside. Standard defense, you split 2. Generally speaking, he does do a good job of taking away the corner 3, right? Because we know the percentages corner versus arc 3. But you have the first pass out. He drops a little bit too far towards the baseline. Drew makes a no-look pass, and he manipulates this guy with his eyes. He looks to the corner, throws the left-hand dime on the money, and that's why Drew Holiday has made $300 million in his career and why he has 2 championships.
The pass by JH is phenomenal with the left hand, but also for Derek Lively, I know you're taking away the corner 3, but still, like, there should be a little bit of a hedge, right? A guard would give you a little bit of one of these to try to make you force into a decision, and he goes into the corner. It's like defensive schemes down the stretch. I mean, that's a critical play. So it leads to, I know we're going to talk a lot about Luka and bad habits, body language, complaint to the refs, but also defensively scheming wise down the stretch. Why are you switching 1 through 5?
Well, that's an outstanding look by you because most of us, including me, what we saw on that play was what a pass from Drew Holiday. But what you're telling us is that there are defensive mistakes that are being made here, or at least a strategy that does not wind up working that sets up the open.
And I'll give you one other one because, look, I still think you have Jason Kidd in his first NBA Finals, right? Like when the Mavs are on a run, I don't know why he calls a timeout to stop the run. And then while the Boston Celtics are on the run, I don't know why Jason Kidd does not call a timeout to stop their run. So there's there's a huge learning curve for everybody that's in the NBA Finals for the first time in the Dallas Mavericks.
I think it's important to add, the Celtics weren't great in their first finals appearance. They had turnovers. They had lack of execution down the stretch. They weren't 6-0 in clutch games. There's a growth moment that occurs when you fail, and the Mavericks are going through it right now. Obviously, Luka, they're talking about his defense. They're killing him. They're talking about how Kyrie wasn't great in the first 2 games, but they have to go through a growth moment to fail in order to succeed, and I think they're going to be better because of
One
it.
way or another, the overwhelming story this morning is Luka Doncic and his performance last night. And if you haven't heard it yet, Kendrick Perkins was all over this. He was on the Road Trippin' podcast last night, and these were his thoughts after the game.
Luka off the game. He drained his team emotionally. Even Jay Kidd. And it started from the tip, the complaining, every damn possession down, the falling on the floor, right? Not getting back in transition, not making a second effort. The bullshit fouls, that was not a charge. Why even put yourself in that position? He tapped out and he left his team hanging. By far, the worst performance I've seen for Luka in the playoffs. Lack of energy, lack of leadership, emotions wasn't there. He went to bed at the crib.
It's harsh, but whether you agree with the very specific way he put it or not, the context of what he's saying is 100% right.
Yeah, I think the word that I really love that Perk used that I didn't even think of was it was draining. Like it is draining to watch your superstar, someone that's supposed to be your leader, constantly complaining, constantly frustrated, constantly with his hands up in the air. It's not fun to work with anybody like that in any field. If we all had someone up here standing with us that was constantly complaining about the show, we would be drained. We wouldn't be able to do our best work. And he could not do his best work. Defensively, he was completely checked out for the majority of the game. The only time he started trying to play some defense was when the offense got going and they got back into the game. Then he all of a sudden wanted to be a defensive superstar. The draining, that part of it for me really stood out. There were so many times where I just caught myself watching Luka and feeling like, is he okay? Like he has to pull it together.